Should we start with NXT?
Yeah.
Yeah, NXT. Yeah, NXT sounds good.
Strong.
Yeah, NXT. Current state of NXT. I've said NXT a lot of times there. So I think NXT, there it is again. It's kind of been a bit of an up and down journey in the last, I'd say, 6 months.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's got its absolute positives, which we're going to talk about, and it's had its kind of things where it's been lacking. So how we're going to do this is we're going to discuss the main event scene. That's going to kind of cross over between the men and the women. We'll talk about the men's and women's divisions. We'll talk about the tag division, the PLEs / pay-per-views, and the booking creative, and maybe point on some of the mid-cards as well. So where should we start? Should we start with the... well, I guess we should start with the main event scene, shouldn't we?
Yeah, up, down.
Yeah. So, well, Cronus, what are your thoughts currently on the main event scene of NXT, kind of where it's been, where it is now? What are your thoughts on it? You probably don't watch as much as I do, but
dip in now and then. But Overfemi champion start there is brilliant. Just gets it, doesn't he? He's got everything.
Yeah, it's incredible for somebody who's, he was one of the NIL grabs, wasn't he, in terms of the find, and I'd been wrestling for not really that amount of time, not a great deal, and yeah, he just gets it. He's got, like you say, he's got everything. He's incredible in the ring. He's got a presence that like nobody else on the roster.
Yeah,
he can talk. He's imposing. The way he carries himself. You go to NXT to learn things like WWE production and what to do on the ramp and which cameras to look, and he just gets all that as well. And he continuously delivers in the ring, and I think putting the title on him when they did at New Year's Eve, I think it was, was absolutely the right decision, because I don't know about you, but prior to Obafemi winning the title, the main event scene in the men's side of things was very lacking.
Yeah, it's a bit thin on the ground.
Yeah, and when you were looking at the NXT men's kind of main event division prior to Christmas, it was only really Obafemi you could see, wasn't it? He was the only guy who you thought that's the guy to, lead the company or lead the brand.
Yeah,
and then we were kind of saddled with, Trick Williams. Let's talk about Trick Williams. I like Trick Williams. I think he's very charismatic. I think he's really over. He's got a great look. He's a great talker. He's obviously very popular. I still think he needs some seasoning in the ring. I don't know about you.
Yeah, there's no doubt that he's got the sort of character side down, I guess. Mm-hmm. He's got all of that nailed down, but yeah, watching, I think he might have been over pushed, because I did kind of just start to get bored of watching him wrestle in general. But yeah, I think he just needs a bit more time in the ring, work some more stuff out.
Yeah,
so, staying in NXT for him might be a little while, even though I don't think he'd struggle too much on the main roster. Probably just mid-card.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think if he did go up to the main roster, I think he'd be fine in terms of getting over. We can argue all we like about whether someone is or isn't an amazing pro wrestler.
Yeah.
But, we could argue that Jey Uso is not the best pro wrestler by any stretch in the company. And he's not. It's just, it's just a fact. He's not the best wrestler, but he's incredibly over because of how charismatic he is, how contagious his energy is. And I think Trick kind of has the same thing going for him in NXT. And he's really likable as well. And I actually think that if you are going to compare, say, Trick Williams to a Jey Uso, then I actually think that out of the two, Trick Williams would probably cut a more engaging promo than Jey Uso. What do you think?
Yeah, only because it's not sentence, yeet, sentence, yeet.
Yeah.
Have a bit more substance to it.
Yeah, and Trick does have his catchphrase, obviously, with Whoop That Trick.
Yeah, but he doesn't say it all the time.
No, he doesn't. And it's not like something the crowd repeats like a what chant between his sentences.
Yeah.
Benefits of being more than one syllable, I guess. But yeah, I think with Trick, he probably just needs maybe another year down in NXT. I can probably see him winning the title again at some point if he's gonna be there for that long. And you don't really see Obafemi sticking around too long, do you? With his potential.
No, but if someone's going to beat him, they've got to be built up.
That's true. Yeah, you wouldn't really want Trick in his current state beating Obafemi. It wouldn't be believable, would it? But then again, we've got Jey Uso probably beating Gunther at Mania, so stranger things have happened.
Hope not.
We hope not, yeah. But outside of that, outside of Oba and Trick, it's really been a dry field, hasn't it, recently?
A little bit. I mean, who else have you got? You've got Ego.
Yeah, all Ego. I think Ethan Page, again, like, not amazing in the ring, but I actually think the work he's doing now, the stuff he's done with Javon Evans, has been really good.
Yeah, great stuff.
Again, he excels at character work. He's a really good talker, good character. And he's okay in the ring. I'd say he's better than Trick. He's more accomplished than Trick Williams. He's quite a safe worker, I'd say.
Yeah.
He's not like a... he's more of a Miz than a Will Ospreay, if I could, present those two extremes to you. But yeah, you got Ego, all Ego, Ethan Page. We've had Ridge Holland, who's been a bit of a contentious one. Not many people are a fan of Ridge Holland. I think he's okay. He's not amazing, but I don't hate the guy.
Right, but no, yeah, I've got nothing against him.
No, but he's not going to take the NXT men's division to where it needs to be.
No, I don't think so.
And even he's been off TV for a long time now. And then you've had people who have kind of been flirting with the main event scene, but always end up back in the mid card, like Wesley, and, a couple of others. So now we've got Ricky Saints as well. Ricky Saints, we forgot to mention old Ricky.
Yeah, do you think he'll slot into the main event scene?
I think he has to at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think any male superstar who comes into NXT needs to be of the level where they can propel the main event scene forward.
Needs to be now.
Yeah, because I think we'll talk about the mid card later, but I think the mid card's fine at the moment for what they've got. But yeah, Ricky Saints, I guess we're going to get him and Obafemi at some point. Maybe Ricky will start in the mid card. I don't know. What do you think?
It's tough to call, really. He's not really feuding with anyone yet, and nobody sort of seems to be coming out the woodwork for it.
No, he's kind of piggybacked onto the Ethan Page and Javon Evans thing recently.
Yeah.
But I'm sure his, standard delivery WrestleMania weekend is 5 weeks away, so not a lot of time.
True.
So that, I think the men's division, it can only get better. I think free agency will help. There's a lot of A.I.W talent becoming free agents in March and April, apparently. So how many of those come in? We've still got the likes of Jeff Cobb, who apparently might be coming to WWE. Whether he goes to NXT, I think that would be great in terms of, a solid body, a big guy who can kick ass. If the main event scene, if the main roster scene is full with the imminent arrivals of, Phoenix and Malachi Black and possibly Miro, maybe someone like Jeff Cobb fits in NXT. I'd like it. I think it'd be great.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to have someone take down Oba, maybe he could be the guy.
Oh, yeah. 100%. So that's the main event scene for the men's. Let's talk about the women's. This is a bit of a different picture, isn't it, compared to the men's?
Yeah, it changed quite recently.
Yeah, it did. And I think it's just changed, since we spoke about it, because I think the last time we did a current state of NXT, I don't think Julia and Stephanie were involved at that point.
It might have been just before.
Yeah. So I think I think it's safe to say that the NXT women's division is just on fire consistently. So we've got we had recently just gone the week just gone Stephanie versus Julia for the kind of not unification but the title for title. So Stephanie won, as we all thought would happen, because there were rumors going around Julia was banged up, needed to recover. So a bit of a shame that was spoiled for us, but there you go, that's the age of the internet. And Stephanie Vecker, I think, has probably been a bit more impressive than Julia since coming in.
Yeah.
Whether that's because Julia's banged up, maybe.
Possibly, but they've both been pretty decent.
Yeah, they have, yeah. I think so.
But Steph definitely seems like the bigger deal, even before winning the big one.
Yeah, I think she is. And I think before they came in, you would assume Julia would be the bigger star, just because of name power, name value. But Stephanie slotted in, perfectly. So she is now the NXT Women's Champion and the NXT North American Women's Champion.
Yeah.
And we've got Jordynne Grace as well, added to the pot of the main event scene. We've had Roxanne Perez have a great title run up until she lost the title recently in January. And it's just been, strength to strength, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
We haven't even talked about the...
Can't really go wrong with how they're booking the women's division at the moment.
No, absolutely. I think it's been really strong. Lots of TV time, lots of non-title women's feuds, lots of weekly matches, some grudge matches playing out on pay-per-view, and rising talent. We've got the likes of Jada Parker, Lola Vice, Sol Ruka, Tatum Paxley. We've got the likes of Kelani Jordan, who just came off the North American women's title run. There's just so much talent, and they all seem to be thriving. And there's some good character work as well. When you look at the likes of Lola Vice and Jada Parker, especially Tatum Paxley as well, I'd say she's a really good character.
Yeah, really like Tatum.
Yeah, and we've got Zarya who's come in as well. Let's not forget Zarya.
Stuff she's doing with Sol Ruka.
It's brilliant, isn't it? I love it. The kind of odd couple tag team. Like I love odd couple tag teams. Like Rock and Sock Connection is where it started for me.
Remember Matt Hardy and was it MVP?
Yeah, I remember that.
Fairly similar, I think.
Yeah. I think Rock and Sock Connection was probably my favorite odd couple tag team. But yeah, it just works, and they're doing stuff on social media, on TikTok and stuff. And I don't use TikTok, but I do see them on social media, and it's quite funny. And they bounce off each other quite nicely. I'm expecting, obviously, Zarya to turn heel on Sol Ruka, and that'll become a whole thing, which would be great. I can't.
Point, surely.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about the NXT Women's Division at the moment. And they're about to lose Roxanne Perez, so I think they've done a good job in making sure that division is going to be fine without Roxanne Perez.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely safe.
Yeah.
Safe as houses.
Yeah. And she's got so much to be proud of as well, because she's done amazing work, especially this year. She's worked Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Elimination Chamber. She's just been everywhere.
Deserved. Really earned it.
Yeah, and for someone so young as well, we can only hope that trajectory keeps going up, and she'll be a main event player in the next year or two. So let's see how she gets on. I think she's going to have a WrestleMania match with Bayley, hopefully.
Yeah, good for her to get on the card.
And did you know that would be the first women's singles match at WrestleMania that didn't involve a title since WrestleMania 22?
Really? Wow. 22.
Yeah.
That's nearly.
And that was a Playboy pillow fight.
Amazing.
Yeah, so let's not call it a wrestling match. But so, they might have a couple of non-title feuds, like Jade and Naomi, for example.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that when we get to the WWE portion. Anything more to say on the women's division in NXT?
No, not really. I mean, or maybe if Steph's got both the titles now.
Yeah.
Is having someone from the Midcard beat her for the North American Championship going to sort of diminish her reign with the Women's Championship?
It's a good question, actually. Yeah, I wonder if they, do they have someone beat her? But like you say, would that hurt her if she's being beaten? Or does she relinquish one? Does she just have two titles as like a tokenistic thing to say, I'm the best? Me and Julia fought for who's the best. I won. So you can take this mid-card belt, give it to someone else. I think if you are going to protect her strongly, that's probably what they should do.
Yeah.
or you can
Yeah.
elevate somebody by having someone beat her. So it's a difficult decision, I think. I'd be interested to see what they do. What would you do?
Yeah, be interesting. Good question. Probably vacate.
Yeah.
It gives an opportunity. You could probably have a mini tournament, get Tony Khan in to book it, and really showcase some like other women in the division as well.
Yeah.
That we'd maybe sort of see more in vignettes than in the ring. Actually do some ring work.
Yeah, I think I probably agree with you there. Yeah. So that's the women's division. Let's talk about our favorite, the tag division.
Yeah.
So obviously we've got the best tag team in the world in NXT for Fraxium.
Yeah. Somehow still together and still champs.
I swear Fraxium have given each other more bumps than most people do in singles matches.
Yeah.
Like it's I don't know, like it keeps happening. It happened again on Tuesday. And they lost because of it, but their titles weren't on the line. So they lost to the Hardys. But they are, I think we can all agree, the current best tag team in the world in terms of the body of work they are producing week in, week out.
I think so, yeah.
I don't think any. And you could argue that it's a low bar at the moment in terms of tag team wrestling is still probably not where it needs to be, at least in the United States. So... But yeah, they are fantastic, and yeah, they're great. They got great chemistry together in ring. They're great backstage. They've got, great charisma, great energy. They're both incredible in the ring.
Yeah.
But when you look beyond Fraxium, for a lot of the time recently, it's not been fantastic, has it? We've got decent tag teams like No Quarter Catch Crew. I don't like the name, but.
Bit of a mouthful.
Yeah, you've got Miles Bourne and Tavian Heights. I really like those guys. I think they're really good.
Yeah, I do enjoy a bit of Tavian, what I've seen.
Yeah, because he had a stint over in, was it Noah, I think he went to? And he just worked Japanese style for a while in Noah. Yeah. And he was in the breakout tournament with Obafemi when we first discovered Obafemi.
Okay.
And I saw him wrestle his first round match. He's like, wow, this guy's a beast. And then he lost in the second round, I think, to, don't know, someone like Lexis King or something, if you can believe that. But yeah, he looked like a promising guy. Now he's back on the main roster in tag team with Miles Bourne. Looked really promising. And then you go beyond that. You've got this Josh Briggs and Inamura team that's popped up recently. The big Japanese guy.
How permanent is that going to be, though, do you reckon?
I don't know. Is Inamura signed, or is he like, is he like a foreign exchange trip or something? Like, I don't know what his status is in the company.
I think he's just a loanee.
Yeah, a loan signing, loan to buy, hopefully. That's a English football term for anyone who doesn't know. But no, they've been quite exciting. I've always liked Josh Briggs in the ring. I think he's always been quite good. I know you're a big fan, Cronus, of Josh Briggs.
Yeah.
And then
the big man.
Yeah, and you go beyond that, and then you're looking for tag teams. You've got OTM, who I've never really clicked with. Who else have we got? Hank and Tank I love, but they're more of a comedy gimmick.
Yeah. I don't really see much of them wrestle, though, do you?
No, you don't. And they're great backstage. I love their vignettes. They're both so, they've got like Matt Menard energy. But yeah, you don't see him wrestle too much. And, apart from that, like, I'm struggling to think of many more consistent. We had Idris and Enofe a while ago. They've disappeared because they were with that Brindley Reese. Don't know what's happened there. So, again, I think the tag team division is like, who's going to beat Fraxium? Miles Bourne and Tavian Heights have just failed to beat them. So, what's next? I don't really see... And I think tag teams, if you sign a free agent, you can stick them in the main event scene. Job done. But it's a bit more difficult to A, sign tag teams because it's two people. And B, it's hard to... you can't just stick two singles wrestlers together and call them a tag team because, the fans don't buy that anymore like they used to.
No, not always.
So it's hard to kind of get authentic tag teams.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
So yeah, I don't really know where the tag team division goes from here. It doesn't look that great at the moment, but it's weird. They've got the best tag team in the world, but not a lot else.
No.
There's a huge gap between the top and everything else.
Like Cristiano Ronaldo playing at that Saudi club.
Exactly, yeah. It's Cristiano Ronaldo in Saudi Arabia. It's exactly what it is. Or Lionel Messi in MLS.
Yeah.
So yeah, tag team. I think in NXT, it could be better. Put it that way. And I think it's going to be the toughest one to rebuild in terms or expand. So we'll see what they do. We've got some A.I.W thoughts on the tag team scene. A.I.W.
Here he is.
He said it's solid, but it's underwhelming compared to the singles divisions. Axiom and Fraser are fun champs and have great chemistry with TNA crossovers such as the Hardy Boys. But the entire division lacks a certain element of star power or iconic feuds of past eras, such as the Undisputed Era versus DIY. It's good, but it's not great. I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, definitely.
I think comparing to Black and Gold is always going to give you, negative funds. Because Black and Gold is probably, the greatest wrestling show we've seen for a long time in the modern era.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the tag team. We're going to move on to the mid-card. So we've got the North American title scene. This is something I think used to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Mainly because Obafemi had the belt the last time we recorded this, I think. But you remember that amazing title run Wesley had?
Yeah.
Wesley had, I think, probably the best of all time, rivaling Adam Cole's. And then obviously Obafemi had another amazing reign with it. And then Tony D won the title, didn't he?
He did. Yeah.
Obviously, in order for Obafemi to become, the champion. I didn't like Tony D's reign. Just didn't like it.
No, it's not been terribly memorable.
No, and then he lost the title to Shawn Spears.
Yeah.
So now we've got Shawn Spears as the North American champion, and I like Shawn Spears. I think Shawn Spears is very good at what he does. He's obviously a veteran. He's not doing his Ty Dillinger gimmick anymore. He's got a stable. He's very kind of ominous and creepy. So maybe he'll be able to do something with it. But if we take the title out of the question, we look at the talent. We mentioned the likes of Wesley, who we love Wesley. We think he's great. But has it ever crossed your mind that Wesley seems to have been there for so long and not really progressed anywhere?
No, it does seem like quite a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to have only really won the North American title is a bit, maybe disappointing.
Yeah, because you would think after a reign like that, he would be catapulted into the main event scene. I know he did have that really bad injury that kept him out for 6 months.
Yeah.
It doesn't help, but
Bit bummer, yeah.
he's kind of doing nothing at the moment. He's had a few run-ins with Trick Williams, but no NXT title reign, no main roster news at all for Wesley, and he's not exactly a spring chicken either. He's
been around a while.
No, he's into his 30s now, isn't he?
Yeah.
But I do worry for Wesley in terms of what's going to happen with him, because I'd like to see him do more because he's great. I don't like his heel work as much as I like his babyface work. He's one of those guys where most people, I think, their heels are better than faces. But I think with Wesley, he's a much better babyface than he is a heel.
Yeah, he's got the look and the moveset for it.
Yeah.
It's hard to sort of buy him being a dick as much.
Yeah. I know what you mean, yeah. It's not really working what he's doing at the moment, so we'll see what they have for him. Who else we got in the mid card? We've got people like Lexis King. He's okay. I think he's fine. But I don't think he's gonna, pull up any trees in the main event scene anytime soon.
Yeah, I can't stand his beard. Or sort of permanent marker.
Yeah. It's like he knows it pisses everyone off, and like the camera always zooms in on it whenever he has any kind of interaction with the camera. Yeah, I think we've got. I'll tell you who I am excited for is Javon Evans, Mr. Javon Evans himself,
the young OG.
The young OG. He's bouncy. Did you know?
He is.
He's great. I think he's got a really infectious kind of charisma about him. He's crazy in the ring. Right, the stuff he does off the ropes and the height he gets on some of his moves. I think he's going to be one to watch, definitely. And he's only just turned 20, maybe 21. Yeah. So I think, maybe he could be future NXT champion in a couple of years.
Yeah, I expect so. He's definitely got the world ahead of him.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess, could we slot Ethan Page into the mid-card scene now? Now he's kind of done his main event. I don't see him going back to the main event after having, won the title. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one for Ethan, really.
I'd call him up, personally.
Yeah, I think that's
great.
Probably a better thing to do.
Yeah, mid-card heel on SmackDown. Perfect.
Yeah.
I could see him. I would have Ethan Page win the US title or something like that. Him with the title was great in terms of how he treats himself as a champion. It's just great television. I think he'll be fine. So yeah, I can see Ethan Page being called up. But again, with the mid-card, it's not really looking that rosy for the men, and they do need to bring in more people.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there anyone else that stands out for you?
Not off the top of my head, really.
No.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it does. It is a shame, but yeah, we'll see what happens. With the women, I think the women's, because now they've got the women's North American title, brought in by Kalani Jordan. We touched on them earlier, didn't we? And it's kind of hard to tell with the women who's in the main event scene and who's in the mid-card scene.
Yeah. Don't know if it's a good or bad thing.
I think it's quite good. They all kind of gel together. You look at Jada Parker, for example.
Yeah.
She's kind of straddling both, isn't she? She could be either at the moment. I think she did cut a promo that basically said, whoever wins out of Steph and Julia, I've got next. So, Jada versus Stephanie, take my money. Stephanie will win probably, but it'd be a great match.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Yeah. And obviously Stephanie holds both belts now, so it's a bit different for the women with the mid-card, because the mid-card and the main event are all in one place. So I don't think there is going to be a split in NXT of women's main event and women's mid-card, because they're all going to be gunning for the same person, which is why I think that her vacating,
at least for a while.
Yeah, I think her vacating will probably be the best idea. Just because you've got so many women on the roster, and you've brought in that title for a reason. So I think having both titles on the same person is a bad idea long term. So I'm sure they'll do something about it quickly.
Yeah, I hope so.
Let's talk about pay-per-views. NXT pay-per-views. I think they're really good on the whole. I really enjoy NXT pay-per-views.
They do tend to knock it out of the park. Yeah.
We've had some really good ones recently. I remember Heatwave last year with the incredible Fatal 4-Way where Ethan Page won the title by accident. The triple threat between Obafemi, Josh Briggs, and Dijak, which was probably NXT match of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they just had even their TV special, like Roadblock last week. That was just amazing, wasn't it? It's just every match was just really good. And I don't think they're going to get to.
Killer.
I don't think they're going to get to the consistency of Black and Gold. But a lot of their pay-per-views do have sort of Black and Gold work rate, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, definitely. You can tell they're putting the work in.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's almost like they're let off the leash a bit more than people on the main roster. For whatever reason, we don't know. Maybe there's more of a safety first on the main roster because of risk of injury, etc.
Yeah, we're paying these competitors a lot more than these competitors.
Yeah.
Maybe speculation. I don't know.
That's what we're here for. But I think the pay-per-views have largely been very, very good. Deadline. NXT Deadline is one of my favorite concepts in terms of matches that they've introduced in the last few years.
Iron Survivor.
Yeah, the Iron Survivor challenge. Really like it.
Really good.
But yeah, I think pay-per-views, they're fine. I always look forward to an NXT pay-per-view. I thought Vengeance Day this year was really good as well. The one just gone, where the debut happened of that Invasion faction.
With the guy who can't dress properly.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, very, very good. And I think, I don't know when the next one's coming. I think Stand and Deliver is the next one, isn't it? Yeah, because we just had Roadblock. So Stand and Deliver is the next NXT pay-per-view on WrestleMania weekend, and that's going to take shape probably very soon. So I'm here for it. I absolutely love their pay-per-views, so not really a lot more to say. Jeff has given them a 9 out of 10 on pay-per-views recently.
That's fair.
He said NXT PLEs punch above their weight. Roadblock was a banger with title it's not unification, Jeff. And Stand and Deliver is looking to loom large. They don't overdo it with frequency, so each match feels special. Creative builds are tight, better than WWE's main roster bloated pay-per-view schedule. I think that's a fair point. Yeah, I agree.
Good point, well made.
And finally, for NXT, the booking and the creative. This is a big talking point. What do you think about Shawn Michaels, HBK cooking in the kitchen?
He's not called Chef Sean for nothing. For sure.
That's true.
Yeah, I think it's quite good. I mean, not only are you booking these stars coming in from outside really well, but you're also booking the talent that you're growing through your system quite well as well, especially in the women's division.
Yeah, I agree. I think what I like about NXT is that a lot of the stars at NXT feel important.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I think there's still that kind of leftover goofiness about NXT that's sometimes a bit too goofy, if you know what I mean. Like there's some kind of still cringe moments with some of the backstage acting is probably not that great, and it kind of can be a bit embarrassing sometimes, but it's fine. We'll allow that kind of thing. No, nothing's perfect.
Yeah. I mean, that's the point of NXT, isn't it? For them to try that stuff.
Yeah,
if it doesn't stick, then try something else.
Like, do you remember that Nathan Fraser had that hard-hitting home truth segment that he used to do?
Yeah.
That was bad.
That was so cringe.
So bad. But yeah, they don't do that anymore. So at least they learn from their mistakes. Nathan Fraser has many talents, but that was not one of them. But yeah, the booking's fine. The women's booking's fantastic. There's not many times you see people really shocked and upset with HBK's booking decisions. So yeah, I think NXT currently is in a good state. Better than it was when we probably last looked at it.
Yeah, I think so.
They're on their new network now as well. They're on the CW. So, they're pulling in bigger audiences than they ever have. More eyes on the product. They're getting bigger stars in. They've got better champions now than they did back then. Well, I say better champions. Probably a more well-rounded roster than they did. And that's only going to improve. And the wrestling is great. The pay-per-views are great. And there's fairly consistent booking outside of a few hiccups. So I'm fairly happy with NXT at the moment.
Yeah. No, it's really good. I do enjoy frequently.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is the state of NXT.